Today we're tackling an often overlooked aspect of cybersecurity, the strategic advantage of regularly switching your penetration testers. Now, by no means are we implying that your current penetration tester vendor isn't adequate. They may be great, but it's not just about performance, it's about fresh perspectives. Two equally qualified testers will have vastly different experiences that they can draw upon. Think of your professional experience. If you're an IT professional specializing in small to medium-sized companies, you and your peers may have encountered vastly different challenges. The same thing goes for penetration testing. Over the course of several years, you want several proven threat detection professionals manually evaluating your security posture. That may nerve because we have different testers here on staff. That means that you can still stick with our company, but you can get different testers each time. Remember, we're talking about manual penetration testing, not vulnerability scans. So let's get into it. So first, let's cover all the reasons why you should frequently rotate your pen testing provider. Different penetration testers often have different experiences. They work with different companies, whether that's specific verticals or industries, or maybe they work for one company for a long time and then move on to a different company. That means that they have a different way of looking at things when they come to a fresh company. They'll work with the basic information that they've already done before with other companies and use that. But because of that, that means that 5 different penetration testers will have different ways of looking at things. It's kind of like when you're in school, there are some people who have the ability to learn verbally, where they're auditory learners. And then there are some people who are more visual. And then there are some people who are a little of both. It's kind of the way penetration testers are. That doesn't mean that that previous tester was bad. It didn't mean that he didn't know what he was doing. It's just that we look at things all differently. So this new tester found something that was more unique and was able to give that client more benefit. Now, some common questions that we typically get are, we like working with our current vendor. Why should we look at either another vendor or another tester? In that case, while it's great to have a tester that you love, that you trust, that you want to work with, it's also good to just get that second perspective. That might mean rotating between a couple different companies so that you trust both of them, but you're getting a fresh perspective every time. What about using multiple vendors at the same time? Well, when you add a couple of vendors at the same time, that means that in essence, you're looking for them to compete against each other, and that can create havoc. As I mentioned before, we all have different approaches, different ideas, different perspectives, and everything like that. So of course, you're going to get different results. But trying to have multiple vendors doing it at the same time can be an issue because of a number of things. One, you're having to go back and forth between those different vendors when there are questions, when documents need to be signed. You want to keep everything separate as much as possible. Additionally, having it all done at one time means that you're forgetting about the rest of the year. So if you have a couple of different vendors doing it in the same month, say, what about the rest of the year? Maybe spreading it out could be beneficial. So let's get into some real-world case studies. One example where rotating pen testers led to identifying previously unnoticed security gaps is we have a regular client that comes to us every year, and they were working with one of our senior testers. He has been with the company for a long time, so he knows them well, he knows our system well, and everything like that. He worked with them for probably 3 to 6 years, somewhere in there. And then we really recommended, pushed on them, etc., to get a new pen tester in there so that they could get a fresh perspective. We know the value of it, but we wanted our client to see the value of it. They finally agreed. And when the new pen tester went in there and did all the testing that he needed to do, he found some vulnerabilities that our previous tester hadn't found. And these were things that weren't like 0 days or anything like that. They were there before, but our previous tester hadn't found them. And that doesn't mean that the previous tester was wrong, that he didn't know what he was doing, that he didn't do everything right. It's just that different perspective. There's only so much that somebody can look for in, a week or 2 weeks or something like that. And they'll go about looking for those vulnerabilities in a specific way. And those specific ways vary between testers. So that means that while the previous tester found some vulnerabilities, the new tester found different vulnerabilities. And it's possible that had he been given the test initially, he might not have found some things that the previous tester did. We've also had many clients come to us over the years that had worked with a company previously outside of ours, and they were looking for new penetration testing vendors. We weren't sure if it was going to be a long-term deal or anything like that. We just knew that they were interested in getting a new perspective, which is great. When they got the final results, they came back to us and they said, you found things that our previous vendor never found. And we're always happy to hear that because it means that we're doing our job right. That doesn't mean that the previous vendor was wrong. It's just we're working hard to find as many vulnerabilities as we can. Now, the next question you might be asking is, how do I choose a new pen tester? When assessing new pen testing services, some of the factors that you should focus on as a business are the credentials that the testers might have, ensuring that they have some of the commonly accepted ones, such as OSCP or GWAP, those kinds of credentials. Additionally, you should check into their experience. How long has the company been around? How long has the tester been testing, etc. At Main Nerve, we focus on testers with experience because our business is so busy, we don't have time to train new testers. So we're always looking for testers who have at least 5 years of experience. That gives them a more robust background for them to pull from when they're looking for vulnerabilities for all of our clients. And if you're looking to switch pen testers, you might be wondering what kind of timeline is recommended. We recommend at least a couple of months before your annual penetration test is due, so you have time to get everything in place. That includes getting signed proposals, rules of engagement, kickoff calls, anything where we might need to discuss whatever is going on in your company, in your network, web application, whatever it is that we're testing. We also want to make sure that there's plenty of time for us to conduct the test and get the final report to you before that annual anniversary hits. At Main Nerve, we have multiple certified and experienced U.S. citizen pen testers under one roof so that you can maintain consistency while rotating experts. Remember, everything we spoke on today is referring to manual penetration testing, not vulnerability scans. If you've never had a real pen test before, now is the time. There is no replacement for human experience, and vulnerability scans can only catch what you tell them to look for. In cybersecurity, variety and fresh human perspectives are critical. If you're considering bringing in a new set of eyes to examine your cybersecurity measures, Main Nerve is here to offer diverse, top-quality pen testing services. Reach out to us for a fresh take on securing your business. If this video brought you any value or you learned something new, please share with someone who will benefit from it too. And if you haven't already, don't forget to follow us on LinkedIn and visit mainnerve.com for more information.